Okay, we are going to simplify a fraction or rational expression with a complex number in it. The first thing that you need to know is something called the complex conjugate. Is when you multiply two conjugates, you actually have a middle term that cancels out. So 4 plus I times 4 minus I, you end up with the middle terms that are inverses of each other and they cancel. And the whole point of simplifying this expression here is so that I don't have that middle term and I'll end up with an I squared, and I squared can just be replaced with -1. Okay, so the complex conjugate, what we're going to do here is we're going to multiply by the complex conjugate of 4 minus I, top and bottom, because again, I can't just magically change the value of this fraction, but what's going to end up happening is that I am going to end up with no I in the bottom. We don't want to divide by a complex number, so what this helps me do is just make it the fraction not have that complex number. So here we go. On the bottom, 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times negative I is negative 4I. I times 4 is positive 4I, and you can already see how those are going to cancel out. I times negative I is negative I squared. All right, on top. And on top, 4 times 4 is 16, and 4 times negative I would be negative 4I. Okay, now remember, our goal is to have no more i's on the bottom or the denominator of this expression. So I'm going to continue to simplify my denominator. So that would bring me down to where my negative 4i and my 4i cancel. And then we also notice that we have an I squared here. Now remember, I squared is equal to -1. So we can replace I squared with -1. So 16 minus 4I in my numerator, and now 16 minus a -1 in my denominator. Again, the I squared being substituted with -1 because those are equivalent. All right, continuing to simplify, 16 minus 4I over 16 minus a -1 is 16 plus 1, which would be 17. And now what I'm checking for is there a common denominator between is there a common factor between 16, 4, and 17? And unfortunately, there's not. So because I can't take a common factor out of everything, I can't take a common factor out of anything. So I'm going to leave my expression here. And some of you might look at this and go, well, how is that better? Well, in reality, I know how to divide by 17. I know what 17 is. I know what that amount is. I'm not concerned about that. When I have i's or radicals in my denominator, that's when I start being a little bit concerned about what that amount is. Again, this process is called rationalizing the denominator.